Guitar 101 Part 2, subtitled The One Where Your Fingers Start to Get Sore. So, and the reason that I call it that is because we are going to start looking at our next hand, so our left hand. So if you were to hold your left hand out like this, we actually number our fingers, and this is going to be important to help us know what finger is going to go where later on. So we have our thumb. Obviously, we only have one thumb. It doesn't have a number because it doesn't typically depress any of the strings to change the chord. Index finger, your pointer finger, is finger number 1, just like if you're holding out finger number 1. Finger number 2 is your middle finger. Finger number 3 is your ring finger. And finger number 4 is your pinky. Okay, so thumb, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when we're holding the guitar, we want to keep a couple of things in mind with our left hand, okay? So the first thing is that our left thumb is not going to hug around like this. It's going to be on, you guys can see this, the upper back. You may even find for some chords it's up a little bit like this. That's okay, a little bit, but try not to have it way up. So upper back, center. Our left wrist is going to be nice and relaxed, okay? So you can see here there's a nice straight section of my sleeve. We do not want, when we're holding it, for our wrist to be bent like this or really angled like this. That's going to cause a lot of pain in our wrist as we go. We don't want pain, okay? Pain is no good. And for our hand overall, we're going to keep it curved, okay? Curls around as opposed to flat or as opposed to a bend, nice and curved, like a claw head. Okay, so we need to talk chord diagrams. We have loaded. So chord diagrams look something like this. So we have our thicker bar right here. That's telling us that that's the nut, okay? So that's this part of your guitar right here, the white nut, okay? Now each one of these are a fret wire, okay, or a fret marker. And the vertical lines up and down, those are our strings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guitar strings. If you're still playing guitar without 6 strings, you need to go find a string piece. With our chord diagrams, we also have our, like I said, the fret markers are going to mark off fret number 1, fret 2, fret 3, and fret 4. What's important to note about this is the fret is the space between the markers in the chord diagram, just like the fret is the space between the markers on our guitars. We are not pressing down directly on top of the fret marker, but beside it, okay? And then our string names up here are Eddie 8 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. So you should have been practicing this last week, just which string is which letter and which number. And we're going to talk about it in terms of numbers now. All right, so we're going to learn a 1-finger G chord. Now, this is not a full G chord. This is not the G chord you're going to play forever. But right now, we're going to learn it with 1 finger. Now, a G major chord has the notes G, B, and D in it. So we're already going to take out our Eddie 8, our EA, because that's not a G, B, or D. Now, conveniently, Dynamite, Goodbye, are all letters that are in G, B, D, right, in our G major chord. But we need to make this last E into one of those notes of G, B, and D. So on a guitar, every time you move up a fret, you move up a semitone. So if it's E when it's open, it's F for the first fret, F sharp for the second fret, and G for the third fret. Okay? And what we have then, if we go to the third fret, is our G. So G is one of the notes of G, B, or D. So what we're going to do to get ready for that full chord is instead of using our first finger to find the spot, we're actually going to use our third finger. Okay, so our third finger is going to find the third fret on string number 1. Okay, now if we look at my chord chart here, we have these 2 X's. That means that we're not going to strum those 2 chords. So when we strum, show you here, we're only going to aim for string 1, 2, and 3, as well as 4 for this chord. I did that, of course, with my one finger G on here. So let's give that a try all together. So take a moment to find the chord. So third finger is going to go to the third fret on the first string, and it's going to press down nice and hard. Remembering our hand is curled over, our thumb is on the back, and we also want to make sure that we're pressing down all the way with the tip of our finger. You can see where the string marker is on there. We don't want to use the soft fleshy part, otherwise we're going to get a sound like this. That means we're not pressing hard enough. That also means we're not pressing hard enough. It should be a nice clear note. It should sound like a very specific note. So I'm going to back up so you guys can see the guitar at the same time here. We're just going to play 3 G chords and then a rest. So we're going to go G, 2, 3, rest. Now I'm going to palm mute it so you can hear me. If you don't palm mute right away, that's okay. You don't need to. And that's our G chord though. So let's take our left hand off, give it a wiggle, and see if you can find that again. 3 chords and then a rest. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, rest. Making sure you're not hitting string 6 and string 5, okay? We don't get to play those in this chord. Let's do that again. Now, every time we have a rest, I want you to release your hand, and then you're going to find it again for 1. Here we go. 1, 2. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, rest. Well done. Let's learn another one finger chord. So our next one finger chord is going to be a C chord, a C major chord. Now, a C major chord is made up of the notes C, E, and G. So Eddie ate dynamite. Those don't fit. E, A, and D don't fit into C, E, and G. Well, I guess you could say our 6th string E could, but it's very difficult, nigh impossible, to strum this note and then the other ones under that. You can't skip notes in a strum. Santana could probably skip notes in a strum. We can't. So we're going to leave that one out. But now we got to figure out how we're going to get a C into our notes. So if we look at the chord structure here, our G and our E, we're happy, we're good to go. But in the second string here, the B, we don't want a B. We want a C, E, or G. So if we look at our semitones, we can see if we go first fret, it's a C, second fret, it's a D, and third fret, it's a D sharp. So which fret would we need to make that note a C, E, or G? Yeah, the first fret. Now we're going to, again, prepare for our full C chord by using our first finger for this one. So our first finger is going to go to the first fret, and it's going to find the second string. Okay, first finger, pointer finger, first fret, second string, and it's going to press down. This one's going to feel harder to press down on than the G note did because it's closer to the nut. Okay, it's closer to the nut, so it's going to be a little bit harder. And we have 3 X's. We have not this one, not this one, not this one. Those don't get to be played. So we're just playing those 3 skinny strings. C major. Now remember, if you're hearing something like this, means we're not pressing hard enough, okay? So make sure you're pressing down nice and firm. And again, same thing. You can see my marker finger here from the string is right on the tip of my finger, not in the fleshy part, okay? We want to use the part that's more bony. That'll make it hurt less too. So just like we did the G chord, we're going to play it 3 times and rest. And on the rest, we're going to take our hand off and then put it back on. Here we go. 1, 2. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Rest, back on. 1, 2, 3. Rest, back on. 1, 2, 3. Rest, back on. Every once in a while, I'm catching an extra string in there. That never really goes away. All right, so yes, our first finger in there to see the full chord. So here's our 2 chords that we've learned so far. So C and G, and there's actually a few songs that we can play, but I'm going to teach you a real quick one by a gentleman named of Billy Ray Cyrus. And no, it is not Old Town Road. He's older than that. It's Achy Breaky Heart. So the words are, don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart. I just don't think he'll understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill this man. You say it out loud like that, it sounds much less happy than when he's singing it. And so when we're learning the song, we need to know about the chord markers on our song. So if you look at the bottom, you'll see it says, don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart. It has the lyrics. And then I have put them in blue above, and that is the chord, and that's where the chord changes. That doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the only time you strum. In our case today, we're going to do that to start, but it is where the chord changes. So our first chord we can see is a C. So let's find that. Our first finger, first fret, second string, and only our bottom 3 strings. So we'll strum with Don't Tell My Heart. Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think he'll. And now we have a new chord, so we're going to take that third finger, first string, third fret. I just don't think he'll understand. And that's our 4 strings 1 through 4. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill this. First finger, first fret, second string, strings 1, 2, and 3 to strum. Might blow up and kill this man. Now you don't have to hold your finger here the entire time that you're going through the other words. You can already be thinking through to change. So let's try that. We'll go nice and slow, but we're going to keep going and not have that pause. Here we go. Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think he'll understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill this man. All right, let's try that one more time, and we'll go a little bit quicker. Starting on a C chord, don't tell my heart. 1, 2, here we go. Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think he'll understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill this man. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of strums. So we're going to strum on Don't Tell My Heart, again on my achy breaky heart, I just don't think he'll understand. We switch to the G. So we're strumming on every beat 1 of a 4-beat bar. Okay, so starting on C. Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think he'll understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill this man. That was a little bit fast for you. That's okay. Put it on pause, slow it down. Okay. The other thing that we can do here is we can strum on beats 1 and beat 3. Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think he'll understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill this man. Okay, that's a little bit more consistent and forces us to switch our chords faster so that we don't lose the beat. I do not suggest going to every 4 to actually sing with this song. It's a little much, but if you want to practice getting your chord changes faster, you can do it there. So remembering our thumb might be a little up as long as it's not curving, and our fingers are clawed over and around. All right, here we go. This is what it would sound like if we did every beat. Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think you'd understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill this man. See what I mean by it's a little bit much for this song? All right, so I'm going to jump into another program and just play along through the first chorus as well as the second verse of the song. I will also leave a link to the full song so that you can learn it. And if you get through it and want to play it for me, I would love to hear it. You can record yourself and pop it into the assignment for some feedback. And yeah, so next week we will be adding on the rest of the fingers for these chords. So there isn't actually only one finger for the chords, but it's a good way to get us used to switching fingers around. All right. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to drop me a line. It's easiest if you put it as a class comment on this assignment. And then I can keep track of what you're asking about and where you're asking about it. Like I said, if you want some feedback, upload a video or a photo of you playing, and I can give you some feedback through that. All right, guys, until next week for Guitar 101 Part 3. This was Guitar 101 Part 2, and we'll see you all later. Bye.
Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think it understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill this man. You can tell your mom I moved to Arkansas, or you can tell your dog to bite my leg. You can tell your brother Cliff, whose face can tell my lip, he never really liked me anyway.